The claim that the gun violence is a direct effect of mental illness is a knee-jerk reaction that is both inaccurate, it's simplistic, and it's absolutely unfounded in any kind of science research that we have. We do take this as a public health issue, and we have methodologies to address public health issues, and we should be applying that methodology to this problem, beginning with funding the CDC and the NIH for gun violence research. When we can do that and start finding out the factors that are actually involved, then we can start building real solutions to the problem. The data just does not support making a connection between mental illness and gun violence. The issue of gun violence is complex. We know that the best predictor of violence is past violence. And so putting mental illness as a cause of the problem is inaccurate and simplistic. So a recent FBI study has shown that of 63 shooters that they researched, only 25% of those had ever been diagnosed with a mental illness. And only 3 of those shooters, or less than 5%, had a psychotic disorder as a diagnosis. Again, the link to mental illness and gun violence just isn't there in the research that we have in hand. It's a very tenuous connection to make that holding extremist beliefs, or what we would consider extremist beliefs, is tied to mental illness. Just the connection's not there. There's no real connection to that. You can be hateful and racist and prejudiced and not be suffering from a mental illness. The thing that we do know in terms of a predictor is that the best predictor of future violence is a history of past violence. Also, if people are been shown to have been found to be a threat to themselves or to others, that can also be a very good indicator. That's really one of the reasons why APA does support red flag laws and universal background checks, because there are predictors, but mental illness is not one of those predictors. I think it's just really trying to tie a simple solution to a complex problem. It is not the fact that mental illness is playing a part here. It's the fact that people have access to guns in this country like no other country. Again, mental illness is a constant across the globe in terms of the rate of mental illness, but the rate of gun violence in America is by far unmatched by any other country. The reasons why there was a deinstitutionalization of those state hospitals had to do a lot with a shift in thinking back in the 1950s and 1960s, that these people that were being held in mental institutions could actually be taken care of and be successful in their own communities. It was also the advent of psychological, pharmaceutical treatments, and so that played a role in it as well. The idea that we would commit people that have mental disorders because they're a threat to society is again simply stigmatizing and not really addressing the problem of gun violence.